All right, y'all, we're back. This week we're going to cook up shrimp fettuccine. It's one of my favorite dishes to make for a couple reasons. For one, it's easy, and two, it's delicious. So this is the weeknight in a hurry. I don't got a lot of time, or I just don't feel like cooking, or this is just the way I like to do it. This is the easy version is what I'm trying to get at. So, I mean, we could get some cream and some Parmesan cheese, and we can make a whole fettuccine sauce from scratch. In fact, I plan on doing that later on down the road once I get used to making these videos and getting some better equipment. I'll probably do it. But for right now, we're just going to stick to the same thing we've been doing on easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some store-bought sauce, and then we're going to doctor it up, and we're going to do our thing to it, and at the end of the day, it's just going to be delicious. So that's where we're at, and let's get started. All right, so what I got here is 2 pounds of shrimp. What I did is, I just picked up the mediums today. Look at that. Sometimes I get the large or the jumbos, but I really kind of like to use these mediums because, they shrink down, but you get more shrimp. And the more shrimp you have means the more likely you are to get a shrimp in every bite. And that's the whole point of this is to eat shrimp, right? So if you're really trying to impress somebody, you want to have jumbo shrimp in there, you can do that. But yeah, this is about the size that I normally do with this particular dish. Now, on the other ones, when I make it from scratch and you're going all out, you cook the fettuccine, you put the sauce on top, and then you cook the shrimp separately and lay them out on top. You're really going to probably go with the bigger one. But for this version, this is how it works. So for this is 2 pounds. 2 pounds of shrimp. So to this 2 pounds of shrimp, I'm going to add a little bit of this. You see that? Zatarain's concentrated shrimp and crab boil. You don't have to use Zatarain's. It's just, the one that's easiest to find. So you got to be real careful. If you're not familiar with this stuff, you should be because it's delicious. But you got to be real careful because it is concentrated. So you really don't want to overdo it. So for 2 pounds of shrimp, this is the 4-ounce bottle. You see the size of that cap? I usually use maybe a half a cap full just over that line. I don't know if you can see. About a half a cap full. And just sprinkle that on. Because it's so concentrated. But it adds an amazing flavor. So when you use the Creole seasoning or the dry seasonings, it doesn't have everything that this has. It just adds something amazing. So I do add a half a tablespoon of Cajun or Creole seasoning. Use whatever brand you like. Then on top of that, we're going to add a little bit of minced garlic. Right there. And then you're just going to mix this up really good. Mix all that together. Just like this. And then you're going to set this in the fridge to just chill and hang out while we get everything else ready. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Honestly, when you get fresh shrimp and you season up a little bit, I feel like I could just eat them like they are. Although I know better, it smells really good. All right, put these in the fridge and then we'll be back. All right, so I buy the shrimp with the unpeeled shrimp, and then I peel the shrimp, right? So that was 2 pounds of shrimp that we put in that bowl. So what I do is I take the shrimp shells and tails, and I put them in the Ziploc bag, as you can see here. All right, so we're gonna do with this is we're gonna throw it in the freezer. We're gonna save this because in the fall, which is not too far away, it's gonna cool off, and we're gonna make a lot of cool stuff. Shrimps, a lot of stews and soups, and so there's a couple reasons that I'm gonna need a shrimp stock. So we're gonna make our own because they're better that way. So I recommend you go ahead and just do this. Take all the leftover shells and tails, put them in a Ziploc bag, and toss them in your freezer. and we'll use them here in a little while down the road. All right, so here we're gonna start with a pretty good sized pan. You got to use a bigger pan for this. So maybe one of your biggest one probably. That's what you're gonna want. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 jars of an Alfredo sauce. So what I like to do, and what I normally do, is I normally get a regular flavored Alfredo sauce for one, and then the second one I usually, every single time I do this, I do it with something different. This time I'm gonna use this creamy basil with aged Parmesan cheese. A lot of times I like to use the sun-dried tomato ones or the 4 cheese one. I just do something different, but I start off with, they're all Alfredos, but I get 1 jar of the regular Alfredo, and I go ahead and pour that in. Then I get the second, and I pour it in with it. Pretty simple, right? All right. So now here comes the fun part. Now we start adding the wine. So with all this sauce that's still left in here, I like to pour a little wine in there. So what I'm using is I'm going to use a white wine. All right. I use a Pinot Grigio for this, but you can use whatever you want. You want to use a Chardonnay, or I'm sure there's other names for white wines that I don't even know about, but the 2 I know about are Chardonnay and a Pinot Grigio, which is what I'm using. So we're going to take about a half a cup of the white wine and pour it in there. That might have been a little bit more than a half a cup. It's all right. And you take the other half cup and pour it into that one. So then what you do is you just take the lid, put it on there, shake it all up so you can get all that sauce out, right? And pour that wine right in there. And do the same with the other one. Put that lid on, shake it up, and add that white wine in there. So you've added 1 full cup of white wine. Alright, so what we did is we turned the heat on low, and we're going to just bring this to a simmer slowly. Stir that white wine in. When you're using a wine, you use what you want, but you got to make sure it's something you would drink. If you wouldn't drink it, you don't want to cook with it. If you don't drink wine at all, then it's not going to be as good. Just saying. But you could use a chicken stock or something like that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add another half a cup of that white wine. So we're to a cup and a half. A cup and a half of wine. And we're going to go ahead and stir this up. Like I said, it's on low heat. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take a half a tablespoon of Cajun Creole seasoning. Add that in, and a full tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And we're going to go ahead and stir this all up and bring it up to a simmer. Alright, so here's the white wine that I am drinking. It's a Bella Sera Pinot Grigio. And it's actually pretty tasty. I'm not a big white wine drinker, but this one's pretty good. And I like it. I like to drink it when I'm eating spicy foods or seafood. So this is the one I choose. It's pretty much the only white wine that I drink or cook with. But you use whatever you want. But this is what I'm drinking. Alright, so I went ahead and turned the temperature up to a medium. Get it up there. You don't want to put it up full blast. Get it to medium. Get it to start to simmer. And then keep an eye on it. Stir it every so often. And Let it start to reduce down. We want to cook a lot of that wine back out of it and just get that flavor in there. So what we're doing is we got the store-bought sauce and we're enhancing that flavor with the wine. So we're going to let that simmer out, let some of that wine cook down, thicken, let it thicken back up. Because when we add the shrimp into this, because we're going to cook the shrimp in the sauce, they're going to release a lot of water and it's going to thin back out. So that's what we're doing. So, I mean, it's just going to take a few minutes to let that get up to a simmer. Right now what we can do is go ahead and get our pot ready, salt some water and bring it up to a boil so we can cook the fettuccine. We're going to cook a whole pound of fettuccine. So that's what we can do now. Alright, so you can see it's simmering and we got the water heating up. Once the water gets to a boil, we're gonna add some salt to it, about a tablespoon-ish of some kosher salt to the water. You want the water boiling first. And then we're gonna cook some fettuccine. You know what? I'm not gonna show you how to do that because what's that right there? That comes with its own directions. So if you see this one says 11 to 12 minutes. I'm probably going to cook mine for about 10 minutes, maybe 9. I want it just slightly underdone. Yeah, 10 minutes sounds about right. Just slightly underdone because once it's done cooking, we're going to mix it in with this sauce and we're going to stir it all together and it'll finish up there and it's going to be delicious. So as you can see, this is simmering. I'm just giving it a stir every once in a while. You know, that wine is cooking off. The alcohol will cook off. A lot of the water in it will cook off and just leave the flavor behind. And we added that Cajun seasoning and that Italian seasoning, making this sauce better. Alright y'all, it's been simmering for a little while. Look, it's starting to thicken up. Look at this. You know, it's definitely getting there. So what we're going to do, we got our water boiling. So what we're going to do at this point is we're just going to add our shrimp right into this sauce. Right? That shrimp that we seasoned up earlier. We're just going to add all of that right into this sauce. All of that. We're going to stir this up really good, get this all incorporated, and let these shrimp just cook in this sauce. We got it on a low. We'll probably kick it back up to a medium just to get it back up to a simmer, and then cut it back to a low. And at the same time, we're going to go ahead and drop that fettuccine and get it cooking. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Alright, so we'll be back. Alright, so we've had our shrimp going for about 5 minutes now, right? We brought it up to medium, got it to simmer. You can see they're simmering, they're cooking, they're starting to turn pink. Everything's looking good. We're about halfway there, 5 minutes, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some Parmesan Romano. All natural. Right? Here's the key part to this. No cellulose. That's what you want. But you know what? You use whatever Parmesan cheese you want. That's what I use. So I got about 2 tablespoons. And we're going to go ahead and stir that in, mix that up. It's just going to add that extra, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that really sounded that good, but it's going to add that extra to the sauce. You know, because it was store-bought canned sauce, but you know, we were souping it up. You know, I'm telling you, some people might not even know it's really good. So go ahead and stir that in. Let these shrimp continue cooking. Our pasta's getting there. We are just about done. What you probably want to do at this time right now is go ahead and get you a little bit of parsley and chop it up, because you see the color of this? It's kind of bland, right? You serve this and it's just all one color, and it's like, you know it's going to be good because you know what it is, but to the eyes it's all kind of bland. So got a couple minutes left to go on the pasta and these shrimp. Go ahead and get you some parsley. and dice that up. You know, sometimes we like green onions. We do green onions a lot. But maybe you don't want to do green onions on your shrimp, but you got to have something. Well, I mean, you don't, but you should. Anyways, go ahead and do that, and we'll be back. All right, y'all. It's been 10 minutes. And you can see these shrimp are curled up nice. They're pink. These shrimp are done. You can see how thin this sauce has gotten, too. So, when you're cooking these shrimp, you want to, you can cook between a medium and a low, right? You get them up. I think it was medium-low most of the time I did it. You want to try to time it with the pasta. If it don't work out, it doesn't work out. If you get the shrimp done too much, you can just put them on, low. Keep it warm. Pasta gets done, crank it up, whatever. But you can see these shrimp are done. And by having these smaller shrimp, I mean, you can see it's almost going to be a shrimp in every bite. So we drained the pasta. We did not rinse it. And we're just going to add the pasta. The whole pound of fettuccine goes right in. And we're going to go ahead and mix that up. And once that's done, we'll be back. Alright, so you can see we got the fettuccine all mixed in. You kind of want to take your time with that. I mean, there's a lot of fettuccine, right? You start stirring like crazy, you're going to be knocking sauce all over the place and making a huge mess. So take your time. It's not a race. I don't know if... Can you see how pink those shrimp are? I mean, it's really kind of pretty. However, it is still kind of monotone. So you just take a little bit of parsley, sprinkle some parsley on. You don't want to go too crazy. But you want that pop of color. Just makes it seem more appetizing, You could use chives if you wanted to. Green onions. We do green onions a lot of times because we like them. But you do whatever. But, I almost stole it from Emerald. I don't know if you saw my hand. I almost went BAM! And I'm an Emerald fan. He was good back in the day. I wish he's still on. No, he does his infomercials. But holy cow, how delicious does that look? I mean, that looks amazing. You got to admit it. And you know what? It tastes even better. What we did to that sauce really kicks it up a notch. Another Emerald. But yeah, this is on point. All right, y'all. Let's talk about what we did. So we started off camera. We peeled a couple pounds of shrimp. We got that knocked out. Save the shrimp shells like I told you to. You got to do it because we're going to do something amazing with that in a couple months, month or two-ish. So we did that. Then we took some store-bought Alfredo sauce, put it in a pan. Oh, excuse me. First, we took that shrimp and we seasoned it up, right? We used that liquid crab boil, and that is key. I mean, it is important. So if you can't find it in your local grocery store, just go online. You can get anything online these days. Go online and get some of it because it is key. And we're going to use that for a lot of other stuff coming up too. So don't think like you spent your whole $3 on it and use a capful. What are you going to do with the rest? Well, don't worry, buddy. I'm going to show you because I use that stuff a lot. It just adds so much depth of flavor. So we took about a capful of that and a half a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. You use your favorite brand. I think everybody knows what mine is. Although if you check my cabinets, I've got probably 32 different ones because I like them all. You know what? Maybe we'll go over that sometime in the near future. But we took a half a tablespoon of Cajun or Creole seasoning and a little bit of minced garlic. Stirred that up, threw it in the fridge. Then we got to that store-bought sauce. And that store-bought sauce, if you taste it, guess what? It tastes store-bought. It's not bad, but come on, we want it to be a little bit better. If you've got the time, go ahead and whip you up a homemade batch of Alfredo sauce. If you don't have time, or if you have time and you just rather spend it drinking wine, take a couple jars of that, put it in the pan, and then start adding to it. We added a cup and a half of wine. Cup and a half of white wine. We use a Pinot Grigio because that's what we like. You want to use a white wine though. I said earlier, use a wine that you would drink, but make sure it's a white wine you would drink. You know, my dad told me a long time ago, I asked him what white wines went with, and he said chicken and seafood and stuff like that. And I asked him what red wines went with, and he said everything. And that's not an untrue statement. However, you don't want to cook with red wine in this. It's got to be a white wine. I use the Pinot Grigio. We put a cup and a half of that in the sauce, a half a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Mix that all up, let that simmer down for a while till it got nice and thick. Then we added 2 pounds of shrimp into it, the shrimp that we had seasoned. Let that simmer for about 5 minutes, and then we added 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, the Parmesan Romano, you know, which just, again, adds to that sauce and makes it, you know, adds to it. Then we put the fettuccine in, mix it all up, it's all done. When you eat this, you taste that, the marinade that we put on that shrimp. You taste that on that shrimp. You taste that sauce. And I mean, yeah, if you don't tell people it's not store-bought, they probably won't know. If you let them think you made it from scratch, you'd probably get away with it. It's really good. We really changed that sauce up a lot, added to it. So that's what we did. You know, this start to finish 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. I got a couple dishes to wash. Not too bad. You could easily do this on a weeknight. Easy, you know. Do it on a Saturday night, and drink a lot more wine with it. It might be a little bit more fun that way. But yeah, super easy meal. So yeah, if you like it, if you like what you've seen so far, please just go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And those of you who already have, I thank you so much. I'm really excited. I don't know if y'all can tell in the video today that I was making all types of rookie mistakes. But it's okay, because I'm a rookie. Everything that could go wrong, dang near went wrong in this. But at the end of the day, the food turned out amazing, and that's what's important. So as I'm learning, we're getting better. But some of the meals that I have, I'm telling you, in the next couple months, we're going to have some really amazing stuff coming. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss a video. And we'll see you later. Thanks.